Mr. National Chairman, notice of strike action / withdrawal of labor by teachers of Kenya. Notice of strike action and withdrawal of labor by teachers of Kenya. Members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me pleasure and pride to reflect on teachers' performance in the year 2018, where our esteemed members all over the country, despite numerous challenges, most of which were created by the employer, conspicuously stood out to generously and selflessly, as patriotic citizens, contribute to the Sustainable Development Agenda Goal number 4 and its accompanying 7 targets and, of course, several indicators ratified by Kenya, specifically requiring the government of Kenya to ensure that all children, boys and girls, complete free, equitable, quality, basic education from ECD to secondary level, leading to relevant and effective learning outcomes. It is quite gratifying to note that 2018 was an exceptional year for teachers in the public service, as they scored a plus in service delivery and exercised high standards of professional work despite being heavily demotivated. There was effective teaching and learning where the syllabus was adequately covered. Teachers participated fully in co-curricular activities, quality co-curricular activities that cannot be compared with any nation in Africa, whether it's sports, ball games, drama, music. Teachers also devotedly observed working hours, and more importantly, they fought off vices of corruption, especially in examinations teaching. Cheating, yes. The elimination of cheating in exams, a huge percentage, definitely goes to the teachers for the work they did. However, it is quite absurd and disheartening to note that despite teachers demonstrating commitment to their calling, the employer, the Teacher Service Commission, has continued to trample on their labor rights and professional freedom, unabated by denying them the right to promotions, upgrading for those who have acquired new and higher qualifications, and upgrading for those who have served for a long period of time, and promotion on merit for those who have displayed exceptional performance in their classroom teaching and outside classrooms. And this contravenes the provisions of the same rights in the Code of Regulations, Part 6. The Commission has betrayed the trust teachers had invested in the body, that is the Teacher Service Commission, after the contravention of the Code of Regulation for Teachers, gross contravention by the employer, gross violation, and the 2017-2021 collective bargaining agreement. Teachers have now been left vulnerable without any form of regulation to protect and guide their professional development. If the Code of Regulation can be violated and adulterated by the employer, then which Code of Regulation will secure and protect the rights and privileges of teachers? Violation of the career progression of teachers, a threat to the job security of teachers, and interference with the general well-being of the tutors. As a union, we aspire to ensure that Kenya retains a well-motivated, well-supported teaching force to deliver quality education. The Commission has betrayed the trust teachers had invested in the body after the contravention of the Code of Regulation for Teachers and 2017-2021 Collective Bargaining Agreement. TSC, which has earned notoriety for developing policies and programs affecting teachers without consulting Kenya National Union of Teachers as per the Public Participation Act 2018 and Fair Administration Action Act of 2014, and also the provisions of the Constitution of Kenya, has firmly positioned itself as the tormentor of teachers, and in fact, the biggest agent of deprofessionalizing teaching in this country, instead of safeguarding the profession. The employer has fashioned itself as an agent of confusion in the teaching service through disruptive policies that are not consulted. The Commission has contravened the Constitution of Kenya, Section 41, the Teacher Service Commission Act 2012, and the Labor Relations Act 2007 as regards fair and just treatment of workers, even going to the extent of disobeying the head of state, disobeying the head of state, His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta, who out of wisdom and respect of humanity and the family unit had directed the revision of the teacher delocalization policy, which has disintegrated families, disenfranchised teachers, and affected teaching and learning standards in some schools. Today, we have authoritatively, and you mark this, you as a media, we have authoritatively established that the just announced 3,094 transfers have not been approved by the appointment board that sits once a year in the month of December, the Teacher Service Commission. Any single transfer of a teacher at the TSC headquarters by administrative practices must be approved by the appointment board. And the appointment board is made up of commissioners who must understand the reasons for transfer of any teacher, whether a teacher has applied and requested, or whether there is a report from the quality assurance and standards. And we have seen it in a glorious circular from the communications department, trying to advance reasons why it was done. But we have established it is an irregular action by the Teacher Service Commission. None of the 3,094 cases has been approved by the appointment board. The board that sits once a year in the month of December. This constitutes to grievous irregular, hence the transfers are irregular. It constitutes to grievous irregularity, and therefore the transfers are irregular and must be recalled with immediate effect. Because if they are not recalled, then the 3,094 teachers shall have suffered through this action that is unfair, inhuman, and illegal. Peter John is John Peter by any other name. By removing the word delocalization and recklessly transferring a huge number of teachers is still delocalization. It is what we have spoken about. It is what the president has spoken about. This also constitutes, this action by TSC constitutes abuse of office aimed at bullying teachers and defeating the directive of the head of state. A body created by the Constitution and the people of the Republic, when the leader of the people, the president, speaks, such bodies must comply.
Yeah.
The president is the symbol of the people and unity of the republic, who was elected by the people of Kenya. A body that cannot listen to presidential opinion and advice is a rogue institution that does not deserve to exist. A flurry of circulars and internal memos which apparently contradict the Code of Regulations for Teachers, the CBA, the TSC Act, Labor Relations Act, Public Participation Act, Fair Administrative Action Act, among other statutes, are now the norm at the Commission headquarters. This is done in total disregard to the recognition agreement between the Commission and Kenya National Union of Teachers and the collective bargaining agreement. Mr. National Chairman, attempts by inert leadership to request meetings to resolve some vexed and other contentious issues touching on teacher career progression, professional development, job security, professional freedom, and enhanced working environment has either fallen on deaf ears or ignored completely by the Teacher Service Commission. In an ideal situation, the Commission should have listened and addressed teachers' concerns to ensure industrial harmony and peace, because it does not have an advantage over workers. It is obligated to negotiate, especially on collective grievances raised by the union. And you are all aware we committed ourselves to the process of dialogue in the course of the year, there were collapse meetings, scheduled meetings which were postponed without any reason, and TSC have disappeared, only to reappear with the same directives that we have contested. And finally now, for avoidance of doubt, so that you don't confuse why